So we have some cool, important updates for Starfield. The game has been doing the rounds. It's still doing very well in the charts. It is selling extremely well. And for the most part, everyone is generally quite happy, unless you're, of course, from the blue side. And then you're probably not going to be happy, especially if you're Red Dragon. Well, he can't go a day without talking about Starfield. So either he really, really likes this game, or he's really, really salty that this game isn't on his beloved PlayStation 5. That's if he actually owns a PlayStation 5. Then again, that's not the topic of discussion for today. No, we actually have some really cool bits of information. So if you do enjoy this video, do consider leaving a like and subscribe. Now, let's not forget that we do have the new DLC coming next year that should hopefully add even more freshness to the game. Hopefully we'll get a vehicle. I'd actually like to see that. But of course, we also have the Creation Hub coming next year as well. Now, obviously, Nexus Mods has been doing the rounds and they've been pushing out mods like there's no tomorrow. And they range from pretty much the most basic to the most extreme you can think of. And there is one patch that we're going to be looking at that actually is pretty damn impressive. But before we do that, we do have an update from, Bethesda Studios themselves. And as you can see here, we've been hard at work on Starfield game updates, and we'll be putting our next one into Steam beta next week. This update will feature NVIDIA DLSS support with frame generation display and HDR controls for supported systems. So FSR 3 is still lagging behind, but I guess that's because AMD are still trying to work out the kinks, and other optimizations and improvements. You'll be able to opt in to try it via the Steam beta options. We'd love your feedback before it goes live for all PC and Xbox players after that. So if you're playing this game on Xbox Game Pass PC, then, well, you're going to have to wait a little longer as it is trialed out from Steam users first. I guess they have that beta thing going, so they can actually roll out beta updates there without having to do a full release. So stay tuned for specifics soon. Thanks for playing. So this is actually really cool. I actually like this bit of information. Note, DLSS is for PC NVIDIA users only. We'll also have AMD FSR 3 support in a future update, which is really cool. So at least they're providing that, and that should hopefully, in effect, with both DLSS and FSR 3, bolster the frame rate at least on PC to a really good standard. Now, with Xbox already being able to support FSR technology, the FSR 3 that should be working on PC Game Pass or on the PC in general using AMD tech through RDNA 2 should work on the Xbox as well. This is one of the big drives that they're doing with the current gen consoles in order to improve frame generation to provide better frames. So in theory, Starfield on the Xbox could theoretically run better, but time will tell how that actually works out. Now over here, this is the big one. As we know, modders out there are generally pretty much integral to the way Bethesda works. They release the game, modders then go out and do what they do best and provide, patches, fix stuff. It's been this cycle for many Bethesda games. It's never going to change. Some see this as a bad thing, some see this as a good thing. I think the fact that they give the community so much freedom to create these mods and apply them. After all, the engine has to be designed to allow the community to be able to do this, right? So they are actively encouraging the community to go out and make these mods. And Bethesda, embrace mods, hence the whole creator hub that they're releasing next year for both console and PC. But these are stuff that you can do outside of that creator hub, and it's just their way of embracing the community and getting the community to come together. Now, this is the Starfield community patch. It's really cool. This is what it does. Fixes included in this patch are intended to correct bugs or errors in the base game. Examples include misplaced objects, script errors, inconsistencies in item properties, faulty mission quests, game-breaking exploits, missing attributes such as tags, header flags, etc., spelling errors. This patch is not intended to include any of the following: new content, that's going to generally be when the creator hub drops; new quests, missions, characters, that's going to be when the creator hub drops; balance changes outside of correcting obvious errors; and any tweaks that are not in keeping with the original vision of the game. So they're basically trying to stay as close as possible without, ruining anything that the base game had, but ultimately just fixing what's, there, fixing what's broken. And like I said, Bethesda just embraces this sort of thing, and I'm more than happy for them to do this. I think it's a really good thing. Now, of course, we also have this mod here I want to talk about because it is the Retina Photorealistic Eyes Overhaul. As you know, people have been constantly moaning about this actually fixes that and provides the NPCs with an actual proper retina. Hopefully the developers for Bethesda will see this sort of thing and actually incorporate it into the game. There's no reason why they shouldn't, but it fixes those sort of bugs, and I think it's a pretty cool update for you to do that you can do right now. You can do both of those patches right now on PC, whether you're on PC Game Pass or on PC Steam. Now, this one over here is really cool because SEGA has confirmed that development of its first super game is progressing steadily, with the blockbuster title on track to release March 2026. So it is like 3 years away, well, 2.5 years away. And it says SEGA says development of its first-party super game is progressing steadily. The company plans to release the blockbuster title by March 2026. So at least there's a firm release date set with that in mind. They say the entertainment contents business has set a long-term goal of becoming a leading global content provider, said SEGA President Yukio Sugino. To achieve this goal and elevate the business to the next level, we are conducting R&D activities to create a super game, a major title that scales globally by fiscal year ending March 2026. Utsumi also commented, "We are also making steady headway in development of the super game that we are seeking to create in the medium to long term. As the name implies, a super game involves the concept of a game that stands head and shoulders above normal games. I encourage stakeholders to look forward to the fruits of our efforts, which include R&D to create a game that builds a whole world view involving the entire gaming ecosystem, including not only players, but also streamers who stream the game and their viewers." So this is going to be something that everyone can get involved with. It's a really bold statement for the game, and I'm personally excited, but at the end of the day, it is 2.5 years away. Hopefully we'll get to see something on it next year, E3 maybe, but I think we're more likely to see something outside of it, like a teaser that may show next year, probably 2025. So this is quite a bit away, but this also kind of puts like a question mark on the whole Xbox acquiring SEGA, because if they've got these big plans, well, they may not be in the market at the moment. Shenmue is the next Shenmue could potentially be a prequel story. Now, this is, I'm a big fan of Shenmue. I love the games. Played them on the Dreamcast, played Shenmue 3. I was actually a Kickstarter supporter. So I'm actually very interested in this. The next Shenmue could potentially be a prequel. Now that the honeymoon's long since ended, the reception to Shenmue 3 is mixed at best. Of course, while it did stay faithful to the formula of the Dreamcast originals, it barely moved the fiction forwards. Disappointing considering fans had waited 18 long, torturous years for the release. It's unlikely we'll get a fourth entry, of course. But speaking in an interview with IGN series, Yu Suzuki has hinted he's considering making a prequel next. "I want Shenmue 4 to be enjoyable for newcomers," he said. As part of the promotional tour for the upcoming arcade shooter Air Twister, "To make that possible, the most important thing is to make it enjoyable without knowing previous events in the story. So making it a prequel will be a good entry point for players to jump in. I don't think that a new player wants to know 100% of the story. I mean, some do, some don't. 20 or 30% could be enough." He added, "In Shenmue 3, we implemented a digest movie that teaches the player the main events of the previous games, but for Shenmue 4, I want to integrate that part into the main game. It would be great if the player could naturally learn about previous events just by playing the game. For example, rather than watching a separate movie, having playable flashbacks could be the way to do it." So this game's going to sound like a prequel, but also a sequel at the same time. Asked if he'd be considered a prequel, Yuzuka said, "Yes, I have. I cannot go into detail at this moment, but it is something I have been thinking about. I think creating the Streets of Dobuta with modern visuals on a new engine alone would make it worth doing. Don't forget, when Shenmue 3 came out, it really did look like a Dreamcast game. It didn't look like they moved it forward in any way, shape, or form technologically. So I think that was part of the reason for the mixed reception, especially because it felt like a Dreamcast game as well, played like a Dreamcast game. So people were expecting that next-gen experience after 18 years, and it didn't really give it. It also connects to the topic of not simply expanding in size. So now we're talking about two separate games here. We're talking about Shenmue 4, which is a sequel, and also a prequel as well. Making an even more detailed debut than the original Shenmue is an interesting idea, especially if it's not a remake but a prequel with a new story. The problem here is that most fans are interested in the story of the protagonist Ryo Hazuki and want to see some kind of resolution to his pursuit of Lan Di. While there are plenty of gaps in the fiction that could potentially be filled, the idea of creating a prequel without ever rounding up the main story seems like a bad idea to us. So they want to finish the main story first before they even get into the sequel, like a prequel. Unfortunately, Suzuki was eager to stress that he's not currently working on any Shenmue games, even though he does have some ideas, and considering the crowdfunding boom is not what it was when Shenmue 3 was announced, while a number of fans were generally disappointed by the third game, we sadly can't see the series ever continuing at this point in time, prequel or not. I really hope that that is not the case. I really hope Yu Suzuki does finish the story, because if anything, you know, the Shenmue community, the Shenmue fans, actually deserve a resolution for this. Yeah, I know a lot of you are going to say I sound entitled, I don't give a shit. We've been playing this game for so many years, playing through the numbers. We deserve a resolution for this. I would buy the game regardless of what platform it's on if I can see a resolution. That's my thoughts on it. I know you guys are going to be like, why are you getting moody chaos? Because I know what's going to happen in the comment section. You sound like an entitled brat. I've seen it before, folks. I've seen it in there. And I know someone's going to do it now just to wind me up. I know you're going to do it. It's going to be flooded in there, isn't it? Anyway, that's pretty much the video. Thank you so much for watching. Really cool stuff for Starfield. There's a couple of other mods that I wanted to show, but I've decided to just leave them in the description. Ones that actually, well, you'll see. But that's going to be the video. Let me know what you think about the whole Shenmue saga, the whole Starfield update with the DLSS actually potentially, if you're on PC, making your frames even better, helping you in the city, and also with the FSR 3, that could really help the Xbox in terms of performance as well, pushing it from that 30 maybe to 60, although I've heard FSR 3 actually requires you to be at 60, so it might not help Starfield that much. We'll see. That's the video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Remain legend.